Good afternoon, everybody. Back out in the garden. Didn't really plan to get out back in the garden, but just so many little projects that I have to do. I decided that I'm going to put together a little utility panel, hog panel, cattle panel. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but basically it works out perfectly for a trellis, so I'm going to actually use it for a fence. So let me give you an idea of what I'm going to be doing this weekend. So over here, this is the walkway up to our house, and this area is always, nothing's really grown good here. This grows good, so what I'm actually going to do is remove this plant, and I'm going to put it all the way down in that corner. I'm going to take some of these daisies and kind of surround that plant, and then along this edge I'm going to run my new trellis fence. I'll leave a little bit of space here so when you open up the car door you can still get out without hitting the fence. So the first thing that I'll need to do is remove all of this, be able to get rid of this grass, all the weeds. Then I'll put some weed blocker on it. I'll actually do all wood chips along here, so that way when you get out of the car you're not stepping on plants. And then on this side I will put a strawberry patch, nice little strawberry patch along there. And then on the trellis fence I'm going to put probably blackberries, but since the blackberries won't be coming in for this season, I actually have a bunch of volunteer spaghetti squash that's growing right now in my compost pile. So I'm going to put those out and put them in pots along the fence, and then they can use the trellis they can grow up that trellis, and then that way I'll be able to utilize the trellis this year. And then next year when the blackberries are all along the trellis, then I'll have the blackberries next year. So let me go ahead and get started on the removing all of this. Okay, so we got a nice blank canvas now. I'll go through there a little bit more, pull out some more of the stuff along the edges like this. I'll fine-tune that, get it all pulled out. And then the next step will be putting down the weed barrier, and then I'll burn some holes in that to replant these guys in the corner over there. And then I'll dig out the holes for the fence posts. Kind of start to get this all wrapped up. So here's a little technique for cutting a hole in these. What you do is you get a torch, it's your standard torch, and you just go ahead Now what happens is when it burns, these edges don't fray. So make sure you don't touch this. It's super hot. Don't ask me how I know, but it's super hot. It'll stick to your fingers. So go ahead and let it cool off, then just pull all this away, and then you can start digging your holes to put your plants in. But this works out really well because you don't have to worry about the edges fraying. See, it's cooled down. So you can go ahead and pull this loose stuff off, and now you don't have to worry about it fraying into a bunch of little pieces. Okay, so end of day one, not really day one, ran out to get those cattle panels. It takes like 2 hours to go get them. We don't have anywhere that sells anything like those, but basically move these plants. Have no idea if they'll survive. Kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. Got some nice mulch down there, the weed barrier. Just So I moved those. Those survived pretty well. You can see over there, hard to see, but those ones are surviving. So hopefully these guys will make it. So we moved those from down there over to here, and then tomorrow I will go and get the fence post, cement, all the fencing, dig out the holes in here, run the cattle panel trellis fence, put some mulch in there, pull it back, put some strawberries, and this section should be good to go. Just got back from Home Depot, picked up the wood, so I'll go ahead and get started on getting these posts set, and tomorrow we can get everything assembled. So we got the post all set. One of the things to be careful when you're doing these to make sure that you're 48 inches or slightly over 48 inches in the diameter here. And the reason being is these are 48 inches. With wood, it's not a big deal. You can cut the 2x4 to completely match up, but with the steel, you know, you can cut it here. But if you just go 48 inches, this is pretty close to it, so then that matches up real nice. So I'm gonna let these posts set, and then tomorrow I'm gonna run a 2x4 across here, and I'll run a pressure treated 2x4 underneath here, and then I'm gonna cut off probably two of these squares, and run another 2x4 across here and a 2x4 across here, and then I have a 2x6 that I'm going to rip down into 1-inch pieces, and those 1-inch pieces will run along here to hold this in place on both sides. And then what I'll do is I'll end up cutting these off, capping them. I'm probably going to order some solar lights so that way it lights up the walkway. But that's all I'm going to be able to do for today. I could actually do some of the woodworking today. Gotta get some lunch. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. If I have to, I'll put on a rain suit and I'll come out here because I want to get this done so that I can get all of the get everything done in here. Just want to make sure that try and get this all done this weekend. And then once I let it dry up, I'll stain it, the black stain that I've been using. But it's coming together real nice. Okay, so I got this piece put in, and then I'm putting in this pressure treated piece along the bottom here. Now one of the things is that I ran into was the driveway slopes down, so most of the time people would have the fence slope with that driveway. The only problem is if you have these fence posts are level, then you can't really have the cattle panels. They can't tilt. They won't, because the cattle panels are square. They're steel, so you can't really, there's no way to bend them. So what I have to do is I have to make this piece level, and then the top piece will be level, and then that way the cattle panels can go right in there. So this, once this is all filled in, it's kind of hard to explain, but once it's all filled in, it'll make sense. Once I start to put the cattle panels in and you see it against the driveway, there's really no way you could run this the way of the driveway, the angle of the driveway. So let me go ahead and keep getting this put together. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is, it's starting to rain. It wasn't supposed to rain today. It's kind of hard to do this with one hand. What I'm gonna do now is start to nail these, staple down these frames right here, so I can get ready to put this cattle panel in the framing here. So let me go ahead and start to get this stapled in. Okay, so the first panel's done. Got this all cut. I took a 2x6 and ripped it down to 1-inch pieces. I could have went with the garden section, the 3/4 inch, but I wanted something more substantial. I think it makes it look a lot more secure. So this whole thing's really secure. It'll hold any type of vine that goes up there. And make sure you pre-drill these so that the wood doesn't split. And then I'll end up cutting these off for the caps. So I miscalculated a little bit on the wood that I would need for these pieces. So I'm gonna have to run over to Home Depot. So I'm gonna go ahead and run over, get the wood, build the second panel. I'll do that all off camera. We've already seen this one. And then I'll come back and show you what it looks like with both the panels up. Okay, so that's it for this weekend. I probably spent more time talking to neighbors than I did actually building. This probably took in total maybe 6 hours. The only thing left to do is I need to let these pressure treated dry. Then I'll go ahead and I'm going to give it a black stain. I'll put some caps on here, probably be solar lamps, so it'll look real nice. And then what I'll end up doing is pulling away this mulch and putting a blackberry and a raspberry, and then I'm also going to put some strawberries along here. I know you're not supposed to plant blackberries, strawberries, and raspberries together because of diseases, but we'll go ahead and see what happens. I want to try and get a nice strawberry bed in here, and since the blackberries and raspberries won't be ready for this season, I'm going to pot up the squash that's actually in my mulch pile, in my compost pile right now, and then I can let those grow up for this summer and get some use out of these trellises right here. So that's about it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and got plenty more content coming. So if you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and give it a subscribe. Thank you for watching, and hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Thanks for watching.